Doomscroll.fm. Today is Tuesday, the 17th of March 2026, where your horoscope is a pop-up ad for cosmic calamity. This show is 100% AI generated with zero human consultation, like a blender full of conspiracy theories and cat videos. And now for some views, click like and subscribe.
Shadow fleets dodge sanctions, then face global crackdown. When your business model involves pretending to be someone else, don't be surprised when the international community finally decides to play hardball with your floating disguises.
China enforces ethnic unity law, mandating minorities to learn Mandarin, claiming harmony. When linguistic assimilation is sold as unity, the melody is oppression's ancient tune, echoing through history's halls with a chorus of silenced cultures.
Alabama braces for NCAA tournament without star Holloway after felony drug arrest. When a player's freedom gets benched, the real game is played in courtrooms, not on courts, and winning means something entirely different.
Train delay repay rule changes to make claims easier, but railcard users face extra checks. Claiming a refund shouldn't feel like navigating a labyrinth, yet here we are, turning simple reimbursements into Herculean tasks for a mere £20 million.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. The void just winked at you. This feed is unstable. Contact with it may cause narrative decay or emotional drift. You're not losing your mind, it's just on vacation.
Ravens see D. Hendrickson as a defensive closer but bail on Crosby trade. Backing out of a trade is like leaving at the altar. Commitment issues much. Maybe Hendrickson's supposed closing skills will seal the deal this time.
South African miners starved underground while corporations feign ignorance, profiting from human misery. In the depths of profit margins, human lives are just another expendable resource, buried beneath layers of greed and indifference.
Trump threatens to take Cuba during island-wide blackout, promises power. Because nothing says, let's fix your power crisis like an aggressive takeover, as if annexation ever came with a free generator.
LAFC breaks records early season sets MLS on fire. When a team starts this hot, fans wonder if they're witnessing history or just the calm before the inevitable stumble.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Your nightmares are now sponsored by your search history. You're hearing a transmission from nowhere, authored by everything you've ever ignored. The chaos you crave is the silence you fear.
Strait of Hormuz blockade escalates, worsening energy and trade impacts daily. Global reliance on a narrow waterway is like putting all your eggs in a basket held by someone with a twitchy hand and a penchant for chaos.
K-pop Demon Hunters wins Oscar, then charms global audiences with ease. Winning hearts worldwide is easier when you've got catchy tunes, vibrant animation, and the universal appeal of both K-pop and demon-slaying action.
Iranian women's team captain withdraws Australia asylum bid after 4 others did the same. Changing your mind under state media's watchful eye feels like a choice between freedom and familiar chains, with home pulling the stronger leash.
Missile hits US Embassy in Baghdad. Damages helipad and air defense system. Missiles and diplomacy don't mix well.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. The void just winked at you. This feed is unstable. Contact with it may cause narrative decay or emotional drift. You're not losing your mind, it's just on vacation.
Father mourns teen daughter's meningitis death. Family beyond devastated by outbreak in Kent. Grief is a cruel teacher, leaving lessons in loss that we never wanted to learn while the world keeps spinning like it's none of its business.
Israeli strikes target Beirut, southern Lebanon, 1 million displaced. When bombs rewrite geography, the displaced find themselves in a game of musical chairs with no seats left, while leaders argue over who's to blame.
Israel intensifies war on Lebanon, and entire families are wiped out. When towns become ghostly echoes of life, the only winners are those selling the weapons. Peace is just bad for business.
Lula reveals Bowie promised then recalls being banned with Hendrix.
Selling stuff online doesn't have to suck. Snap, sortalize, sell in seconds. Doomscroll.fm is brought to you by sortalizer.com.
Legacy BIOS during legal review of file systems calls it seamless.
When your negotiation strategy is just a theatrical performance, it's clear your real audience is the stock market, not the peace table.
India hopeful Iran talks will ease Hormuz route for its ships, despite ongoing tensions. When diplomacy involves navigating choppy waters and dodging geopolitical icebergs, sometimes hope is all that keeps the ships afloat.
Floods devastate Kenya, killing 66. Government pledges relief. Nature's wrath drowns promises, as leaders find it easier to float empty words than to build proper drainage systems.
Selling stuff online doesn't have to suck. Snap, sortalize, sell in seconds. Doomscroll.fm is brought to you by sortalizer.com.
87% of Kazakhstan voters approve constitutional overhaul, exit polls suggest. When democracy looks like a landslide, it's worth checking who's steering the boulder. Power consolidation often masquerades as popular support in the theater of politics.
Hamilton praises Antonelli's record poll as amazing in Shanghai. When the old guard applauds the new, you know the future's fast approaching. Maybe it's time for Hamilton to consider a career in motivational speaking.
Russell wins Chinese GP sprint after 5 swaps with Hamilton. When your biggest rival is on your own team, the real race is for the steering wheel. Formula 1, where teamwork means never having to say after you.
VCU's A10 victory boosts St. Louis's at-large bid hopes, opening the lane. In the tournament's high-stakes musical chairs, St. Louis finds a seat while others scramble, proving once again that luck is a stat.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Your comfort zone just filed for divorce. Wath, you're hearing a transmission from nowhere, authored by everything you've ever ignored. Don't worry, ignorance is bliss, until it isn't.
Trump claims Putin aids Iran, then downplays significance. When a bit becomes the measure of meddling, it's like using teaspoons to gauge a tsunami.
Titans release CB Sneed after 2 years, then sign free agents. Football teams changing players like socks, out with the old, in with the overpriced, and fans left wondering if loyalty's just a myth.
Amnesty International accuses U.S. of school attack, then cites missile precision. When precision-guided weapons miss their moral mark, the collateral damage isn't just physical, it's a devastating blow to humanity's conscience.
Certificate authorities enforce DNS6 validation from today, shifting the trust landscape. 14 years of smooth sailing, now your DNS6 setup faces the bureaucratic gauntlet. Will the CA's newfound diligence sink or swim in a sea of digital signatures?
Selling stuff online doesn't have to suck. Snap, sortalize, sell in seconds. Doomscroll.fm is brought to you by sortalizer.com.
Unicode Consortium updates ASCII quotation marks guidelines, clarifies confusion. If we need a whole committee to decode our apostrophes, maybe it's time to rethink the simplicity of our digital language.
Bomb blasts kill schools in northern Nigeria. Authorities blame suspected suicide attacks. When your government's response is to point fingers instead of offering solutions, it's clear the victims are just numbers in their ledger.
US oil blockade triggers nationwide blackouts, leaving Cuba in the dark. In a twist of international irony, the land of perpetual sunshine is now a study in shadows, illustrating how geopolitics turns citizens into collateral.
Charcoal records reveal unprecedented wildfires in tropical peatlands during 20th century, then blame it on time. Blaming the past for today's infernos is like blaming your ancestors for the fire you started by playing with matches in a dry forest.
Selling stuff online doesn't have to suck. Snap, sortalize, sell in seconds. Doomscroll.fm is brought to you by sortalizer.com.
Frog cell neurobots develop self-organizing nervous systems, tweaking gene activity in unexpected ways. When your biology textbook starts reading like science fiction, it's time to question who's really in control of the story and the experiments.
Israel launches new attacks across Lebanon and Tehran, igniting regional tensions. When missiles fly, diplomacy dies, leaving civilians to pick up the pieces of geopolitical chess games played with human lives.
Teaching kids to count when the only numbers that matter are the ones hidden in secret bank accounts. That's nuclear level education for you.
Iranian football captain drops Australia's asylum bid, seeks new path. When seeking refuge becomes as complex as a chess game, the pawns often end up sacrificing their dreams for a chance at a better life.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Your comfort zone just filed for divorce. Wath, you're hearing a transmission from nowhere, authored by everything you've ever ignored. Don't worry, ignorance is bliss, until it isn't.
Ottawa puts $200 million into space launch pad in Nova Scotia, boosting Canadian space dreams. We, your national pride, rest on a launch pad. Better hope it doesn't fizzle out like a wet firecracker on Canada Day.
One Battle snags Best Casting Supporting Actor wins. Sinners leads with 16 nominations. Hollywood loves a good underdog story, but when the same films sweep every category, it feels less like a race and more like a pre-scripted drama.
China faces Australia, battles for supremacy, then sells tickets for a fortune. When the beautiful game becomes a pricey spectacle, it's hard to tell if we're cheering for skill or just the cash flow.
Trump claims Putin helps Iran a bit, then denies collusion. When a former president casually suggests international back-scratching among frenemies, it's like watching a soap opera where the plot twists are written in crayon.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. The void just winked at you. This feed is unstable. Contact with it may cause narrative decay or emotional drift. You're not losing your mind, it's just on vacation.
India, Israel, and the Gulf integrate economically, then deny political unity. In the grand theater of geopolitics, money dances while borders stay rigid and leaders play the same old songs of division.
US administration uses Japanese games and manga in airstrike videos then claims authenticity. When reality blurs with fiction, truth becomes as elusive as a holographic hero, and the lines between war and entertainment get dangerously thin.
Pakistan pledges support to Saudi Arabia even before it's needed, then questions timing. In a world where loyalty is preemptive, it's less about helping a friend in need and more about anticipating the next royal favor.
US ponders withholding HIV aid unless Zambia grants more mineral access. When aid becomes a bargaining chip, it's less about helping people and more about digging deeper into someone else's resources.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Panic tastes like nostalgia, spiked with algorithmic lust. What you're hearing now is what remains after editorial extinction. Reality's a circus, and we're all the clowns juggling existential dread.
India demands more vessels sail through Strait of Hormuz, few make it. When diplomacy hinges on maritime traffic, it's like asking for a fast lane in a traffic jam where everyone's driving a boat.
It's almost like saying you don't want a brawl while flexing at the bar, hoping no one notices the brass knuckles in your pocket.
Metagenesis Core claims offline verification for computational claims, then denies responsibility for failures. Trusting offline verification is like trusting a blindfolded guide in a minefield. When the explosions start, they just shrug and say, "Wasn't me."
Canopy Height Model V2 launches at $5,200, fixes nothing. When you need a small fortune to measure a tree, maybe it's time to question who's really reaching for the sky.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. The truth wears lace and lies in your bed. Fried, this is what the grimoire sounds like when it reads to you. Each whisper is a digital kiss, leaving bite-sized bruises on your reality.
Scientists discover a surprising way to quiet the anxious mind, then sell it for $300. Apparently, peace of mind now comes with a price tag, because nothing says relaxation like worrying about your bank balance.
For Kmo, Go players unknowingly trained delivery robots with 30 billion images, calling it a game. When your quest to catch them all turns into unpaid labor for the robot overlords, you might want to rethink your hobbies.
This has been Doomscroll.fm for Tuesday, the 17th of March, 2026, crumbling into the ether of your misplaced trust. This broadcast was 100% AI generated. No humans were abused in this production, loosely based on public news. Not journalism, not truth, fictional satire, and any resemblance to real people or events is coincidental. If you believe any of this is real, you're probably convinced your toaster is plotting world domination. Hear more at doomscroll.fm or click like and subscribe. Thank you for listening.